Okay, so we're about to start our fourth and I guess you could say final tutorial episode. However, as the developers of KSP2 continue to add things to the game, they will also add new segments to this training center, and we'll do those as it comes to it, but we'll add those to this playlist and keep it going. But for right now, this is it. Orbital transfers. How many do we got going on today? 3. Sweet.
Our rocket is in orbit over Kerbin and ready to fly. The mission today is to, drumroll please, intercept and orbit the Mun. To be captured by the Mun's gravity, our vessel must cross into the Mun's sphere of influence, or SOI, the zone in which its gravity is stronger than any other celestial body around it. We're going to create a maneuver plan to figure out when and how long we need to fire our engines to intercept the Mun. Great! Now here's a new trick. We can select any object as a target in map view. Targeting gives us useful information and enables new tools. Once we've targeted a celestial body or other object in space, our maneuver will provide closest pass and plane angle information. This can be very helpful for meeting up with someone or something in space. Right now, our camera is following our vessel as it orbits Kerbin. Let's adjust our camera until we can see the Mun. Then, right-click to target it. We want to place this maneuver plan with 2 things in mind. First, the Mun is in motion. We can't aim our spacecraft where the Mun is right now. Instead, we have to aim where the Mun will be after our vehicle has coasted all the way from Kerbin. Second, remember how increasing velocity raises the opposite side of our orbit? Since we're placing this maneuver plan where we intend to start our burn, we should place it on the opposite side of Kerbin from where we intend to intercept the Mun. Placing a maneuver plan usually involves making a best guess, and then fiddling with the maneuver until you get an intercept. Fortunately, you've got a crack navigator with you today. By my calculations, we'll want to put our maneuver here. Excellent! We've just created a maneuver plan. While we could find out if our departure timing is correct by just picking a direction and maxing the throttle, a maneuver plan tells us in advance how much delta V we'll need, how long we'll need to burn, and in what direction our vessel will need to point during the maneuver. Grab and pull the arrows to plan a burn along that direction. This maneuver is pretty simple. We want to burn prograde and expand our orbit.
So it looks different than KSP1, but it's basically the same thing so far.
Nice! That maneuver event towards the end of your trajectory is exactly what we're looking for. It tells that if we execute this plan, we'll intercept the Mun. If a maneuver looks right, but we're not getting the intercept we expect, we can change the starting position of the maneuver by grabbing and dragging the middle of the maneuver plan along our orbit. It's very common to refine a maneuver plan by adjusting both the position of the maneuver and the direction of the planned burn. If we don't want to maneuver at all, we can delete the plan, either by right-clicking the gizmo and selecting delete, or through the burn timer. Maneuvers are invaluable when leaving Kerbin. Feel free to come back and practice anytime.
Okay. Next.
We've got a maneuver plan that intercepts the Mun. Now we just need to execute that maneuver and fly to the Mun ourselves. Whenever we have a maneuver plan, a burn timer will appear. The timer shows you how much time is left until we need to execute the maneuver. I've paused the simulation for a moment, so this number won't count down quite yet. The timer also tells us how long we'll need to burn our engines at 100% throttle in order to complete the maneuver. Now let's take a look at the nav ball. A new marker has joined our old prograde and retrograde markers. This is called a maneuver marker, and it shows us the orientation of our planned maneuver. We'll want to make sure that this marker is in the center of our nav ball during our maneuver burn. Luckily, we can aim at this maneuver marker by selecting the maneuver button on your SAS controls. Now your vehicle is properly oriented, and through the magic of SAS and more math than I'd like to admit, our vessel is properly oriented. We're still far from our planned burn, so let's speed things up.
So interesting. This wasn't there before. Instead, you'd had to kind of guess it yourself. Or maybe it was and I just never used it. I don't know. I did use maneuver nodes, but I never used this one.
While we could rely on our reflexes to time warp at the perfect moment, a less stressful alternative is warping to a specific point in our orbit. See this button? Select it to warp automatically to the moment before our maneuver begins. Departure burn, here we come. Great! We've exited just before our maneuver burn, and I've paused the simulation once more. After we select Continue, remember to wait until the countdown reaches 0. Then we'll go full throttle until our burn timer reaches 0. Then cut the throttle quickly to avoid overshooting our target.
That's interesting that this is the way it's going to be in KSP2, because in KSP1 you had to divide the countdown to the burn by 2. You had to divide it in half, and then you had to divide the burn time in half, and you had to add that to your countdown time. So you had to start the burn early in order to reach your specific spots. But it seems like it's all the calculations are integrated into this one. I don't know, we'll see.
Okay, get ready to hit the throttle.
In 26 seconds. Three, 2, 1.
Watch the burn timer. We want to stop our burn once it reaches 0.
So they have celestial. Is that taking the place of the orbital cam view now? They keep changing it. Oh, there it is. Now we're at orbital. I couldn't get to orbital in the last tutorial. Gosh, I really need to just mess around this game for a bit and figure these little things out. See, now where's orbital at now? I don't see it. It's not coming up. Say, stop it, Kevin. We're all getting seasick. Yeah, I don't know. Oh.
Great work! You've successfully executed a maneuver, and now we're on our way to the Mun.
Kind of botched that a little bit there, but who's counting? Apparently they're not.
It's going to take a while to reach the Mun, but don't let the wait fool you. We're now moving faster than any Kerbal has ever flown before. When we enter the Mun's sphere of influence, we'll be going way too fast for the Mun's gravity to capture our vehicle. To orbit the Mun, we'll need to burn retrograde once we're inside its SOI, or sphere of influence. This will slow us down enough to keep us from being whipped into interplanetary space. Let's start by time warping until we're within the Mun's sphere of influence. That's the sphere within which the Mun is the primary gravitational influence on your vehicle. Let's get a little bolder with our time warp this time. Farewell, Kerbin. We'll miss you. Welcome to the Mun's sphere of influence. Let's slow down to normal time so we can create our capture maneuver. Did you notice that we've got a periapsis above the mun, but no apoapsis? That's
We're not in
because
an
we're
orbit.
going too fast to complete an orbit before sailing past the mun. Don't worry, we have time to adjust. Our objective is to slow down enough so that both apoapsis and periapsis are within the mun's sphere of influence. Remember the rule of orbital opposites. Because we want to lower your apoapsis, we'll need to place our maneuver plan at the periapsis. Let's get started.
Gotta slow down. That's all we're doing now.
In order to reduce our apoapsis, we need to slow down by burning backwards, or retrograde. This is a little like deorbiting over Kerbin, but we're going to stop burning before our trajectory meets mun dust.
I guess I have to create my own. Cool. I was like, I'm waiting. Hold my hand, please. How far down do they want me to go?
Maneuver plan set. Next up, let's make sure we're pointed where we need to be. If the maneuver is right and we're pointed in the right direction, now we need to time warp to the right position.
You know what? I think they did have this. It was blue though, and you had to work your way up to earn it in career mode. So that's probably why I don't remember it.
And we're on our way. Almost there. When the countdown reaches 0, throttle up to start your capture burn.
One.
Keep burning until the burn timer reaches 0. Shut the engines now. We have an orbit. Fantastic. That was some fancy flying. Looks to me like you're about ready to try this for real.
This is my first time actually looking at the moon up close. I'm pretty excited to land on it, yeah. And that's gonna wrap up this one, guys. Yeah, it's just gonna take some fidgeting with the new heads-up display and where all the controls are. It's definitely not anything quite like KSP1. I'm feeling in a good way. Again, it's gonna have some getting used to. If you're new at playing this game, you never played KSP1, I think they're setting you up for success. They just need to, like all games going to early access, especially this one, they need to work out all the little bugs, which they're doing. I guess the next update to this game is going to be in a couple weeks, one of the patches or up fixes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me for this one, and we'll start doing some real missions, meow. Okay? Until that time, Godspeed.